There we go. Question number 2. I Love Wayne's World says, most of my friends claim to be Christians, but they support Pride Month. It depresses me that they encourage gay marriage, which the Bible clearly says is a sin. How do I talk to them about this? In my experience, most of the people who, I'm just being straight with y'all, which is what I'm always going to do here. Most of the people who support gay marriage do it without having really thought very deeply about the topics. They feel very deeply about them. And now some are going to take this as an insult. I don't mean it that way. It's more of an analysis. They feel very strongly and very deeply about the issues, but they have a very hard time carrying on a civil and high-level discussion about the topics at hand. For example, they look at marriage as a right, whereas the people who are opposed to gay marriage are usually looking at marriage as a thing. Not a right, but a thing. It has a meaning. It's a word that has a meaning. And so they're arguing against gay marriage, not because they think gay people can't marry, but because they think marriage is between a man and woman by nature. Like, this is the meaning of marriage. This is the definition of marriage. And so when you say that's gay marriage is 2 men or 2 women marrying, you're like, but that's not marriage. Like, that's definitionally not marriage. Imagine, I mean, this is the same as the what is a woman issue. It's like, this is a topic that's related to redefining terms and throwing out not only true meanings of terms, so that woman becomes this, you can't even give a definition for it, right? What is a woman? I don't know. Could be anything. If you identify as a woman, you're a woman, which is that's like saying, what's a boat? Well, a boat is a thing that identifies as a boat. It's a boat. It's total nonsense. But the reason that I just lost my train of thought. The reason why there's confusion here, and I've had success with people when I talked about this, is to say, I don't care about gay marriage. Gay people can get married all they want, as long as it's 1 man and 1 woman. And they go, what? And you realize at that point, if you're on the side of supporting gay marriage to any degree, I want to suggest for a second that if you don't understand this sentence, you literally don't even understand the topic. Here's my suggestion, right? Here's the sentence. Gay people can get married all they want, as long as it's 1 man and 1 woman. Do you understand that sentence, and why that sentence cuts right through the topic and separates it into two very different debates? One debate is, shouldn't all humans have the right to get married? Well, I don't know. I mean, is marriage a right? Like, all humans should be allowed to get married. Okay, yeah, I agree. Right? When they reach certain age, responsibility and stuff like that. But that has nothing to do with gay marriage. Literally zero to do with it. What it is about a definition of marriage. The definition of marriage is 1 man, 1 woman. It's literally been that way for all of time. And from a Christian perspective, as you say this as Christians, that was God's description and definition of marriage. Like, this is so consistent in the scriptures. He makes them male and female. A man, right, shall leave his father and mother and become one with his wife. This is male, female by nature. It's not just 2 people. It's always a man and a woman. Even with the sad and sinful issues of polygamy, it was always, polygamy is not 1 marriage with a man and 6 women, right? This is 1 man and 1 woman. That's a marriage. That man and another woman, that's another marriage. A man and another marriage. They're all compromised. They're all damaged through polygamy, but polygamy is still just a man and a woman. Throughout history, marriage has always been 1 man, 1 woman. It's just always been that way. Culturally, there's no culture I know of that would be different on these issues. Biblically speaking, that's what God gave to us. And when the Supreme Court did the Obergefell decision, and they actually wrote, if you actually read their decision out, they even acknowledge this. They go, throughout history, it's always been a man and a woman. What we're doing is we're fundamentally redefining the word marriage. Like, and if you're American and you understand the function of the Supreme Court, you know how wild this is. Okay, so the Supreme Court's not supposed to redefine words. They were creating new law by redefining a term. So they redefined, and they said it in the decision, we're redefining the word marriage. Now it means just 2 of anybody. Right? So 2 men, 2 women, doesn't matter. So what we have here is an issue where Christians who are compromised on the topic of marriage and on gay marriage are compromised in a way that is not only embarrassing, is not only confusing, is not only kind of ignorant, because most of them, you tell me, guys, they're really not even aware we're talking about a definition of a word, not a right. Not a right, a definition of a word, marriage. and a concept. And a step beyond that, as a Christian, they're literally rejecting what God has revealed in his word. So those Christians need to be rebuked, and done so with care, done so with patience. Like it says in Timothy, that we should gently correct those who are in error, right? With patience, and that we should be careful that we're not falling into sin as we bring the correction, but it absolutely has to come. I'm so sorry. I think I would encourage you. I love Wayne's World. Talk about what is marriage definitionally. Talk about Genesis. Talk about the New Testament. Talk about Jesus, how he appeals to Genesis to define marriage. And know this, that historically speaking, while there was no culture that embraced same-sex marriage at the time, they were aware of same-sex marriage at the time. They were aware of all kinds of those behaviors. Same-sex committed relationships happened in the first century. They weren't perfectly socially acceptable, certainly not to the Jews. And when Paul came into the Roman environment, where there was more acceptance of same-sex relationships, that is exactly where he writes Romans 1, specifically refuting those things. So there's no wiggle room there. If you want to represent Jesus correctly, you cannot affirm gay marriage. That's the end of it. Like there's